So, welcome back to 2-Minute Tips for Parkinson's. This one's all about voice recognition and why it's important to think through your words and speak your words clearly. I must thank my local speech and language therapist who's been enormously helpful with this. So why is speech clarity such a big issue with voice recognition systems? The answer to that is that in normal conversation with somebody you use gestures, you use body language, you use facial expression to augment communication. Voice recognition systems just can't recognise any of this. They only respond to sound. So are there ways that you can improve the clarity of your speech to make it easier for voice recognition systems to understand you? Thankfully, the answer is yes. Here are some tips. My first tip is to avoid any kind of multitasking and think clearly in sentences. You should be aiming to speak like a newsreader on the news at 10. Do not get too far ahead of yourself. Think one sentence at a time and remember that speech recognition systems are very tolerant of pauses in between sentences. Tip number 2, it's really important to stay calm. Do not get stressed. If you get stressed, it'll make your voice deteriorate significantly. Tip number 3, another strategy you can use is to have a list of bullet points. This list of bullet points gives you prompts so that you can speak in full sentences without having to think about what you're going to say next. Tip number 4 is try and avoid thinking and talking at the same time. Again, this is multitasking and it will cause problems. Tip number 5 is use a loud voice. If you purposely speak louder, your mouth opens wider when you are speaking. This is called over-articulation. It's a great way of projecting your voice clearly. In order to sustain high volume, you may need to take extra pauses to take breaths so that you do not get too tired. This way you can sustain a nice loud voice. This will make your speech clear and your clarity good. A loud voice is also beneficial from a technical perspective as it increases the signal to noise ratio. This is the difference between the sound you intentionally want the computer to hear and the background noise. Tip number 6. Think very carefully about using big words. When you're using small words like chair or house or door, they are relatively easy to pronounce as they only contain 1 or 2 syllables. If you use a large word like discombobulated, it's much easier to slur. Think about using your facial muscles and your tongue as much as possible. That way you can avoid words running into each other and slurring. Now, what does discombobulated mean? It's a verb that describes a state of confusion and upset with words. Quite appropriate for Parkinson's, really. So that's all for now. In the next video, I'm going to talk about microphones, the audio environment, and the way that the microphone interacts with your computer or digital device. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye for now.